So today I have a really fun buns recipe for you all, and it's kind of translated to golden thread buns. It is something that I had as a kid. It was really fun to eat because you could kind of play with your food as well. And I found a really cool homemade version that is really easy to replicate at home. So I hope you guys all enjoy. So, I'm going to start off with how we normally make most of our Chinese buns. I have some flour, some yeast, some sugar, and then I'm also going to be putting in some baking powder for some added fluffiness. Now, recipe is going to be down below for this one, but essentially for the white part of the bun, I am going to be using water as my liquid. And then for the yellow part, I'm going to be using pureed pumpkin or pureed squash for that nice bright yellow orangey color. The recipe is the same for both. Both are going to have the same amount of wheat, sugar, yeast. The only difference is the liquid, and it's actually the same amount. So I'm going to put in the same amount of water in weight and then the same amount of vegetable puree as the water. So with the pureed squash or canned pumpkin or whatever you decide to use, I found that it behaved a little bit wetter than actual water. It could have just been me. Maybe it's a little bit of the fiber. So just like any liquid that you add, you want to do it a little bit at a time just to see how the dough is behaving, because you might not need the whole amount, or you might need a little bit more. So you want to knead it for, again, right around 6 to 8 minutes until you have a fairly smooth ball of dough, and then after which you want to rest both balls for about 30 minutes before you start working with them. So the method to making these little golden threads in the middle, this is more of a homemade method. What they'll do actually in the restaurants is, if you've ever seen me do the pulled noodles recipe, where you essentially put oil over the dough, you let it rest, and then eventually you can stretch it nice and long, and then you fold it on one another and you stretch it again. I don't always have enough room for that, and I figured that for just like a normal household, this was another method that was slightly easier. So when you get the dough rolled to a certain point, just add a little bit of oil to it. That helps it to stretch out some more, and you just want to roll it super thin. I'm putting just a light layer of oil on it right now and just rolling it up, and we're gonna cut it into threads. So I'm just rolling the white part of my dough as long as the threads are. And with kind of the more homemade method, you'll know that the threads are not always as thin as they need to be, or maybe they're not as uniform. So you can kind of adjust and pull on them a little bit to get them even thinner. And what I'm doing right now is I'm brushing on a layer of oil over the threads because as it steams, it has a tendency to stick together. So by doing this, it keeps them separate. So later on, it's a little more fun to kind of pull it apart. So I usually put a wet towel over these guys and let them rest for about 15 to 20 minutes before I put them into a steamer. It's not yet boiling yet, so we're gonna just bring it up to a boil. I'm gonna steam it for 12 to 15 minutes because they're fairly thick. So you just want to make sure that everything is cooked in the middle. I have a lot of fun memories eating buns like this as a kid because I would just like take my time with it. I would peel off every string and it just made it like really fun to eat as well. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed this recipe and this little vegetable puree tip. It's a good one because instead of water, you can actually add in a lot more nutrition, a little more fiber, and it makes the buns different colors. So probably kids will like this a lot more. You can be really creative with the process. As usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys all again next time. Bye.